Hey all, it's Linda. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I want to talk to you about all of the brushes that are my current favorites. Some of these have been my favorites for years and years. Some of them are more recent favorites, but I wanted to show you how I did basically this whole look using all of my favorite brushes. Now, I do have a lot of brushes. Brushes are something I have a very hard time decluttering. But if I'm being truly honest with myself, there are certain ones that I go back to time and time again. So these are those brushes. And as I'm looking at these, some of these I've had for like a decade and other ones I've had for like a couple of months. You are going to see some of the same brands repeating themselves, and that's because when I like a certain kind of brush, I want to go towards that company more. So yes, there are like hundreds of brush companies, but I really found some ones that I really stick by, so I wanted to talk to you about them. Everything is going to be listed in the description box down below, and I will list whether or not I received each brush in PR, because some of these were sent to me and some of these I purchased myself, and this video is not sponsored in any way, but I just want to talk to you about all my faves. Also, I do not mention in the video what makeup I am wearing, but everything is listed in the description box down below if you want to check it out. But we are going to start with face makeup because, to be honest, that's where I usually start my makeup. And you've seen it take a disastrous turn in some previous videos where like I'll have fallout all over my face, but we're not going to worry about that right now. So if we start with primer, I will be honest, I do use my hands to apply my primer, so I didn't talk about a brush for that. But when it comes to foundation, the brush that I have been loving the most for quite some time now is the BK Beauty 106. This is a domed brush and it is very dense, but very, very soft and very pliable. Sometimes when you have brushes that are super dense, you can't really move the bristles around a whole lot. And when you apply product to your face, all it does is kind of leave these streaky marks that are very difficult to blend out. With this brush, because it is so nice and soft, I feel like I can dot it all over my face and blend it out with no marks. That is a huge deal for me because I used to solely be a sponge girl until this brush kind of came into my life. Previous to this one, I found that with brushes, I would always get a streaky finish, I would get an uneven finish, and this one changed the game for me, if I'm being honest, in that it just blends it out seamlessly. You can put such little pressure on the brush to get it going. And also, if you need to layer foundations, which I did today, I put on a layer of foundation and then I wanted some extra coverage, it doesn't move the foundation under it a whole lot because it is such a gentle brush. But again, so soft, and it just blends things like a dream. You're probably gonna hear me say that phrase, it blends like a dream a whole lot, but this one really does. I really feel like this was a game changer for me. The next one is a bit of a strange one because I think this specific brush has been discontinued, but there's something exactly like it still on the site. It's just called something different. So this is the brush that I use to blend out my concealer. This is a very old IT Cosmetics brush. And I was just kind of surprised. I just went looking for it on the site and I was typing in concealer brush and nothing was coming up. Or like, spot concealer, whatever. And then I found it under Velvet Luxe Effortless Crease Brush, 320. So I don't see how you could use this for a crease brush, if I'm being honest, because it is very thick and very dense and it is domed. And like, I mean, maybe if you were really trying to buff it in there, but I feel like this is my dream brush for really blending out concealer. I apply my concealer and I let it sit for a few minutes to really warm up to my skin. And then with this, I like to dot it on my concealer rather than instantly swiping. I feel like swiping is what gives me those streaky marks no matter what brush or sponge that I use. But with this, I like to kind of dot it out and blend it in a circle no matter where I'm going. And it's amazing for that. It is so super soft because I do have sensitive under eyes. It is ridiculously soft. It doesn't, affect my under eyes. It doesn't make my eyes irritated. And it blends like a freaking dream. I'm sitting here still dotting it on my face because it just feels good. Also, when my allergies are kicking and my sinuses are going crazy, like this feels amazing. But really, this brush has been just a dream for me for concealer. Now, if you want to try this as a crease brush, more power to you, have fun with that. But I personally recommend this for concealer. As far as face powder, so you might know that recently I did get this Beauty Blender Puff, and I do still use this, but I don't use that every day. What I've been using every day for a very long time is the Luxie 660 Precise Foundation Brush. I have 4 of these. This brush is flatter in nature and it does have a domed top, but it is so incredibly soft and fluffy that for me, this is not so much a precise foundation brush. This is a precise powder brush. It gets under the eyes really comfortably and packs it on. Now, I don't swipe on powder. If you're somebody who likes to put powder all over your face, maybe this won't be the thing for you, but I personally like to pat it on into the areas where I know I need it, which is under the eyes, the nose, the mustache area, the chin, and right between my brows, and sometimes right over my brows. I love this brush. That is why I have so many of them. It is the most perfect powder brush in my opinion. Again, if you are somebody who likes applying powder all over your entire face, this might not be your jam. If you are somebody who likes precise powdering, if you are somebody who doesn't need a ton of powder or doesn't enjoy a ton of powder like me, this is a dream. And I know so many people who still use this. I see friends all the time just whipping this out of their bags and just like applying. This was like the it brush for a while, and I still use this. It is still the only powder brush I use. This next one is funny to me because I definitely got this in a BoxyCharm, and I keep seeing YouTubers take out this same brush for their contouring and bronzing, but yet nobody really talks about it. Okay, so this is the Luxie 512 small contouring brush. Now they don't have this format anymore where it's kind of blended and it's got that ombre effect, but they do have it in a beautiful rose gold. This is almost like the big sister of this brush, right? In that it's very dense, but it's very domed and it's just compact and it is my perfect brush for contouring and bronzing. And I know you should use probably two separate brushes for that, but I kind of do a bronzer anyway, so I don't really have any issues with it. It really can get you into your cheekbones and really dig in to chisel that out. But then you can also really easily blend it out, which I think makes this the perfect contour brush. It's one I've been using for years now. I don't even remember which BoxyCharm I got this in, or maybe it was an Ipsy bag, but I've been using it for so many years and it is my dream brush. I have not found one I like as much as this for this specific purpose. Also, I do use cream products to contour and to bronze. I just want to throw that out there, and this just blends creams perfectly. I want to talk about my perfect blush duo. So I almost always wear cream blush, and for that I use another IT Cosmetics brush, which is so funny to me because I think I only have like 5 IT Cosmetic brushes in my collection, but these 2 I use regularly. So this is the number 7 Heavenly Luxe Complexion Perfection. It is a dual-ended brush, and on one side it's for all over, and on the other side it is for concealing. I never use this concealing part because it is a little too stiff for me. This brush though, I use for my cream blushes every day. Now it is almost similar in a way to the BK Beauty 106, except this is much, I don't know, I think I'd say it's like fluffier in a way on top. So it blends out the blush really well. And it's like, whereas this buffs it into your skin, this blends it into your skin, if that makes sense. So I just love this for my cream blushes. I think it blends like a dream. Like I said, I knew I'd be saying that phrase a lot. It blends like a dream, and it is just so soft. It is so comfortable on the skin. I just really enjoy this. And then when I want to put powder blush on top of that, which I did do today, I do blush layer sometimes. I don't do this all the time. But the brush I've really been liking for that lately, and this is a fairly new one to me, is the BK Beauty 107. This is a more flat blush brush, and it is so incredibly soft, and it is a little fluffier in nature. It's still very dense, but it's fluffy enough that it can blend out powders easily, which I really enjoy. I've really been liking this. So how I use this is I sort of pat the blush on and then blend it in, and that's what works for me. And this has been really, really fantastic. I've loved this for powder blush. And the final face brush that is my favorite, I know I'm jabbering on and on, but I love brushes so much. This one, if you've watched my channel at all, you probably know what's coming because I've talked about this brush for so many years now. This is the Moda BMX 265 Glow Brush. I think I also have 4 of these, and it's pretty much the only blush or the only brush I use for highlighter ever and have for years. It is a fluffy domed brush that is perfect for getting highlighter to be beautiful and blinding. If you are somebody who likes a very natural highlight, this might not be for you because this does pick up quite a bit of pigment and it allows you to really buff it into the skin. So you're not getting like that glitter topper. You're not getting glitter falling down either. You are just getting a beautiful, wet looking, seamless highlight every single time. Like if I'm going to recommend one brush to you, is it going to be this? This is going to be one of them. It's going to be all of them actually, but I love this brush. I even have, I think 3 of them sealed still in my closet because I throw one of these in every single giveaway I do. I buy these in bulk when they go on sale and they're almost always on sale. And I just throw them in every single giveaway. I give these to all my friends because it is the best brush. I love it. Let's move on to the eyes. So first I want to talk about crease brushes. I have 2 that I use pretty regularly depending on what kind of look I want to do. The first one is the BK Beauty A503 brush. This is from the Angie Hot and Flashy set, and it is a very, very, very fluffy crease brush. It is dense still. There are still a good amount of hairs, but it is a duo fiber, so it's very, very fluffy at the end. This is what I use for when I want really, really blown out looks. Something all the way up to the eyebrow, something all the way out, maybe to the temple. For blown out looks, this is my favorite crease brush, but for regular kind of everyday looks, this is the Royal & Langnickel Omnia Balm 14 crease brush. Again, I think I have 4 of these. Why is 4 my number? I do like having multiples of this because I don't wash my brushes every day, but what I really like about this, first of all, the shape, again, we have that domed shape, so you can really get into the crease if you need to. But it is so soft and fluffy that it's really good for blending the crease out. And you won't get that patchiness. You won't get that streakiness. You're just going to get a beautifully blended out look. But at the same time, it is dense enough that it can really pack on color. I like to pick the color up with this and sometimes pat it first and then blend it out. It's just fantastic for a crease brush, and these are so inexpensive. This brand is very inexpensive, so if you are looking for more affordable options, I always recommend these, but just love this crease brush. Also, you know, love the BK Beauty one, but this is what I use for more blown out looks. This one is a newer favorite of mine, but the second I used it, I knew it was going to become like an everyday favorite. So this is the Singe Beauty EO2 brush. This has become my new favorite brush for deep dark colors, applying it on the outer corner and deep into the crease where it's more concentrated. It is so tiny, and I love that because not enough companies make tiny detail brushes. Remember how I said this brush is what they said is a crease brush? Like, look at the difference in size on these bristles. I don't know about you, but like this feels intense to my eye, whereas this feels like you can really get a precise application. You can blend it out, and I love how flexible it is, but at the same time, it's great for packing that color on and then blending it out. It is beautiful. This is just one of my new favorite eye brushes of all time, like right now. I love it so freaking much. If these are ever sold individually someday, I would recommend this. In the whole set, Angie had 5 brushes in her Singe Beauty set. This is my absolute favorite. Now, I will say for putting color on the lid, when I am using a just regular matte color, I will usually just take my crease brush and put it all over the lid. And if I'm using a different, like a shimmer color, 9 times out of 10, I'm not even using a brush. I'm using my finger. If I do use a brush, it's usually some no-name brush. Like, you know, I don't really have yet a very favorite flat brush, but I usually do use my finger to apply shimmers, and I feel like it does a great job. This brush is very unique to my collection, and when I got it at first, I was like, when am I ever going to use that? And the answer became nearly every day. So this is the Royal & Langnickel Omnia Balm 515 brush, and it is the tiniest brush in my collection. It has very few hairs. It's like not even a quarter of an inch long, I feel like, and it is very dense, but it is still soft. This is the brush I use for precise lining with shadow on my upper lid. This is also the brush that I love to use to set my waterline because it is small enough where it's not going to irritate my eyes. And no other brush in my collection is small enough to do those two things with ease. And I know a lot of people love maybe an angled brush for applying shadow on their upper line or things like that. This is my dream brush because you can really get it into that lash line to really make your lashes look fuller. And I freaking love this brush. It was one of those things that I was like, I guess I'll try it. And then I'm like, where has this been my whole life? I have 2 more brushes to go. This, again, is a fairly new one to my collection. This is, again, a Singe Beauty brush, and this is the EO4. What I found interesting about this is when I first saw this brush, I was like, oh, okay, it's just a nice flat brush to apply shadow all over the lid. I don't mind having those in my collection, sure. And then when I read the little card, the little info card, it said this was fantastic for smoking out the lower lash line. So I was like, okay, I'll give that a shot. And it is a game changer. Oh my gosh, I can't explain what it is about this brush. I think it could be, again, it's domed. I do like domed brushes. It's just the perfect density to really smoke things out. And the brush handles are nice and light, so I feel like you can get a nice light grip on it. You don't have to be gripping it with the claws of death. But I feel like for me personally, it does a great job of smoking out, but not taking it too far down. A lot of times brands will suggest that you use, huge brushes like this to smoke out. That probably works great if you're 20 and you have had Botox since you were 15. But for me, I do have little creases under my eyes, and I feel like this is the brush that I have always needed to smoke out the lower lash line. It is so comfortable on my lower lash line and just for blending out in general. Like, I'm sure you could use this brush for 9 million reasons. I only use this for smoking out the lower lash line, and I freaking love it. And lastly, for my inner corner, I have a million pencil brushes, and I do still use all of them for different purposes. But for my inner corner specifically, it's the BK Beauty 207. This is such a great little fluffy detail brush. It is so small, but it is fluffy enough that you can use it to apply color anywhere. I will also sometimes use this to apply color directly under my eyebrow for like a really bright burst of shimmer. But I will say that this picks up color so nicely that the result you get is going to be more intense. If you're looking for a very blown out inner corner, you just don't want it to really be seen, this might not be the one for you. But if I'm applying something to the inner corner, I'm doing it with purpose. I want you to see that color. Even if it's like a light champagne like it is today, I want it to be seen. So this has been my go-to brush for that. And again, for also applying under the eyebrow. I didn't do that, but I also, yeah, look at that. I don't know if you can tell. Oh, my bangs are in the way. Like, it gives an instant, because there's still product left in the brush, it gives like an instant little punch. This brush, I don't know why it's so good. It's just great. Now, I am not somebody who uses lip brushes. I have a few that I keep on hand just in case I want to do some editorial look, but I don't use lip brushes. I just use, the pencil or the lipstick or the lip gloss. I'm just basic bitch like that, I guess. But that's it. These are all my favorite brushes. Now, again, you don't need to use 9 million brushes to do your face. You don't need to use a single brush. You can do your makeup with your hands if you want, or you can get one brush that's really multi-purpose. You can get double-ended brushes if you want. Whatever works for you, that's awesome. This is just what works for me and has been working for me. It looks like a lot of brushes when I'm holding it, but to be honest, like, I love using makeup brushes. I know that might sound strange, but this is something that was always kind of a luxury to me back in the day. So every time, still to this day, that I buy a new brush, I just love it so much. I try to treat them very well. Do I wash them every day? No, I don't wash them every day. I'm not like a masochist, but I do try to keep them healthy and clean and happy. And just, I love every single one of these, and they love me back. So that's it. I want you to drop in the comments, what are your favorite brushes? What are your favorite brush brands? Tell me all about them. I'm always on the lookout for new brushes that I can absolutely fall in love with. Again, all of these are going to be listed in the description box down below, as well as everything that is on my face. I'm really happy with how this makeup look came out, by the way. I feel very like snatched, chic, something clicky. But if you like this video, it means so much to me if you would give it a thumbs up. It's completely free for you to do, and it really helps out my channel. You all can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Those are all GlitterFallout. And as always, and forever, you are super freaking rock stars. And I love you so much with my whole heart. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.